The Dallas Cowboys should trade Micah Parsons, is what Chris Canty said, not me, because I disagree. But I thought this would lead to an interesting video about Micah Parsons and the Dallas Cowboys as a whole. So let's get into it. So recently, Chris Canty thought that, or said that the Cowboys should trade Micah Parsons because of his impact on the culture, because of his podcast.
The Dallas Cowboys need to trade Micah Parsons. They need to trade Micah Parsons.
Why?
They have to, at some point, start taking culture seriously.
And that he is a vocal player. He talks a lot. I mean, of course, has his own podcast, but can say things in interviews and stuff like that that may negatively affect how he's viewed or just might lead to some awkward moments in the locker room. And I think one of the biggest ones this past year was when he kind of threw a diss at Mike McCarthy in the middle of the season after the season went started to unravel, and he was like, man, the people I feel bad for are Zach Martin, right? The people that have been for this team a lot longer and have done a lot more for this team than other people, and he name dropped Mike McCarthy.
All coaching aside, Mike can leave and go wherever he wants, but the guys I kind of feel bad for is guys like Zach Martin and guys who might be on their last year or on their way out, because that's who I wanted to hold the trophy for. You want to win games and do great things with those type of legends who put in more time and work than Mike McCarthy ever did. So those are the kind of guys that I have so much sympathy and hurt for.
To kind of say that Mike McCarthy doesn't deserve this as much as Zach Martin, I'm not saying he's necessarily wrong or I think he has a good meaning to it. You just don't say that about your head coach. Ultimately now Mike McCarthy's gone, and is it really going to matter? I don't know, but that's just the type of player in person Micah Parsons is. And I'm not saying he's a bad person, but he's a vocal player. He's a vocal personality, and that's just what happens with some players. Some people like to be really quiet. Some people like to be a little bit more vocal. And that's kind of the reason why Chris Canty believes that they should trade Micah Parsons. And there has been rumors that the fact that because Micah Parsons is coming up on his contract, the whole contract thing, that maybe they should trade him for an absolute haul. And I get how that can be enticing, because you would get 2 first-round picks plus. You would get arguably one of the biggest trades in NFL history. You look at Myles Garrett, that deal would be a lot bigger than what Myles Garrett would be traded for as well. So that would be one of the biggest trades in NFL history. So I would completely understand that conversation coming up about Micah Parsons, but also I feel like that conversation could have been a lot more avoidable. But I wanted to go back to the culture thing real quick, because I think that's a bad reason, and I think Stephen A. also touched on this, that if you're the Cowboys, you can't really be talking about culture and having a negative culture and trading somebody away because they're a negative impact to the culture, when the biggest culture leech of culture is the owner and Jerry Jones, who is not going to be gone anytime soon. He will not be. He will be the owner until he's not here anymore. That's just how it is gonna go. Or so it's hard to talk about Cowboys culture when there's Jerry Jones who impacts the culture more than anybody on that team, and he's the owner. He is the lead man. He is the top of the food chain for the Dallas Cowboys. So that impacts that stuff as well. And also, I don't think you trade Micah Parsons because of just how dominant he is. 10 plus sacks every single year. That's a dude you pay. And if that's a dude you let go, especially at the age that he is, you look at Myles Garrett, he's 31 at this point, right? He's still arguably the best defensive player in the league, but he still is a little older. And you'd still get 2 first-round picks for him, in my opinion. So, different, but still obviously similar. And, I mean, again, Micah Parsons, that would arguably be the biggest trade in NFL history. That, we talk about Luka-type stuff, really. Even though that wouldn't, it's hard to beat the Luka trade because of just how unexpected that was, too. But, yeah, but I think we can all kind of, bring this together just to be a Cowboys problem. And, we talk about the last year with the free agency last year, and then paying CD and Dak Prescott, how that all just went awry. Like, this is a Cowboys problem because they have to pay Micah Parsons. But we wouldn't be in this situation if if the whole thing of CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott didn't happen, I think, as well. You waited so long to sign him, the price went up. You could have saved some money. Then you could have made some other moves in free agency last year to better this team because you couldn't do anything. You didn't go all in like you said you would, Jerry Jones. And so, I mean, you paid your guys, right? You paid CeeDee Lamb. That's somebody you don't want to let go. Dak Prescott, that's somebody you don't want to let go because you don't really know what his replacement would look like. You don't know when that would be because you're not going to draft his replacement. You mean you could draft his replacement possibly, but there's no guarantee that he's going to be good. There's no guarantee that you could hand the offense to him unless it was like Cam Moore to Shadur Sanders. You know, because I wouldn't be surprised if them drafting one of these quarterbacks in like the second day or early day 3. I think the Cowboys should do that. I mean, you have Cooper Rush, but he's no future. Trey Lance is there. Is he the future? Doubt it. Because, he wants to give him a chance, but also I just don't think at this point of his career, putting him the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys would be great for him. He could have, like a Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield type of thing, and that's definitely possible, but I don't think it would be for the Cowboys. So that's kind of my thoughts there on that. But, again, you waited to pay these guys so long. It wasn't great. The free agency wasn't great. You couldn't get a running back. You didn't even talk to Derrick Henry. I don't know what happened to Saquon, but Saquon signed pretty quickly for the Eagles, so I think he was always going to sign with the Eagles. I don't think he was really going to go anywhere else, to be completely honest. I definitely don't think he was going to go to Dallas. So that, Rico Dowdle had 1,000 yards, but again, I don't think he's like this guy that's going to put you over the top. And maybe this leads to y'all getting Ashton Janty, possibly, but I don't know. Because what? The biggest move they made was Eric Kendricks, bringing somebody new in. I don't know. It wasn't a great offseason. I made a whole video on that, so if you want to go watch that, you can. But I think now that kind of affects this draft, this free agency, because the Cowboys are negative in cap space. So they're going to have to restructure CeeDee Lamb's deal, Trevon Diggs' deal, Dak Prescott's deal. Now, I don't know how any of that really works, so I'm not going to get into it. So maybe it's not possible for them to restructure certain deals or whatever. But that is a thing, because you're going to have to pay Micah Parsons. And then you also got somebody like an Osa Odigizua that you're going to have to pay. And maybe that wouldn't have been much of a deal if you hit on the Mozzie Smith thing, and then the whole Mozzie Smith thing went awry. Right? So you also really want to pay Osa Odigizua, but can you? Will you have that opportunity, or is there going to be somebody else in the NFL that's going to give him a bag? Because I wouldn't be surprised, because he's a great defensive tackle. So the Cowboys they shoot themselves in the foot because of the way they manage their team, and I think that's really interesting. I think we can get into that a lot more too. And I just thought there was a really good gateway to kind of talk about that with the whole Micah Parsons thing. So I just wanted to touch on that. And for agency, I don't really know what you're gonna do. I think the biggest signing that they might make, I think, is like a Stephon Diggs. I'm not saying that's a bad signing. I just think there's a good chance he wants to come home. I wouldn't say come home, but you get to stay in Texas. You get to play with your brother, right? And you get to be a number 2, alongside CeeDee Lamb. Which again was the biggest reason why I was not too high. Another reason why I was not too high on the Cowboys, because I didn't know where their offensive production was going to come from, outside of CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. And you got a little bit from Rico Dowdle, you got a little bit from these other receivers, but wasn't much. And it hurts that Dak Prescott got injured, of course, too. But and then the draft, we just talked about Ashton Janty, but you only have 3 first-round picks, or you only have 3 picks in the first 4 rounds. Unless you hit on your draft picks, every single draft pick, that's not great. That's not great for the Dallas Cowboys. And again, they just punch themselves in the foot, and I can get that. And again, if you want to trade Micah Parsons, knowing that you're going to get this absolute haul, you're going to get 2 first-round picks plus, you're probably going to get 2 second-round picks plus 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. You might even get a valuable player that can come in and step in right away to help the team win. I don't know, right? So that's kind of where I kind of stand on all of this. I think, Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys have kind of shot themselves in the foot. I think Micah Parsons maybe a little bit should, think before he speaks sometimes, but I also disagree with Chris Canty saying that they should trade him, because you do not trade somebody that high of a caliber player just because of the culture when you are the Dallas Cowboys, who has Jerry Jones on their team, who has Jerry Jones as their owner. So that's, again, my thoughts there on the whole Chris Canty, trade Micah Parsons, don't trade Micah Parsons, what the Cowboys going to do this free agency, what happened last year, and how dysfunctional this Cowboys organization is, because it is. And as a Commanders fan, I'm pretty happy about that. But at the same time, this is one of the most historic franchises, the most popular franchise in the NFL. So you always talk about them, and I think it's it's kind of crazy to see that, just how dysfunctional this organization is. But they do have Will McClay, who might not be I don't know. Maybe he gets a free GM job. I don't know how many spacers are left. It might just be Jacksonville's. But I think he could be gone very soon if they do not give him a general manager position title. I think he could be gone anytime, really, next year. This offseason, maybe he goes somewhere else, knowing that he's going to have a chance to be a GM. Who knows? Because I don't know if he'll ever get that title here in Dallas. But, that's just the end of Randolph, the end of the video there. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.